evening. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8. We bring you the latest stories from our website, thediamondtvzambia.com. You can also follow us on Diamond TV Online on Facebook, as well as Diamond TV Zambia on X. Coming up, the headlines. Your headlines this evening. Stranded Luwingu CDF students in Lusaka resort to odd jobs after alleged allowance delays. Independent Broadcasting Authority Director General Guntila cried out for help before abduction. This is according to a court testimony by Mika Hotel manager. And later on, Tonse Alliance calls for national unity and respect ahead of Edgar Lungu's remains arrival. Do join me shortly for the details. Good evening once again. A pleasure that you could join us this evening for the Diamond News Desk at 8. My name is Sapo Ngoma with the details. Over 30 students from Luwingu district in Northern Province, sponsored under the Constituency Development Fund, have resorted to doing piecework in Lusaka to survive after allegedly not receiving their allowances. The students enrolled at Handsworth Institute for Heavy-Duty Driving courses also claim that the institution has failed to provide the promised lessons, citing a lack of adequate equipment and proper learning facilities. However, Luwingu Council Public Relations Officer Tasila Banda has dismissed the allegations, stating that the council disbursed allowances of 1,000 kwacha per student on May 23rd and that each beneficiary signed for the funds. Ms. Banda described the students' claims as baseless, suggesting that the situation may be a result of mismanagement of funds on the part of the students. Handsworth Institute is yet to respond to these allegations.
More than 30 students from Luwingu district in Northern Province who traveled to Lusaka with hopes of acquiring heavy-duty driving skills under the Constituency Development Fund sponsorship now find themselves stranded and struggling to survive. The students have been forced to take on piecework and other odd jobs in the city after claiming they were not provided with their living allowances. My appeal really is for government to do due diligence in these institutions that supposedly offer these courses, because clearly some institutions is either they don't exist or they are not well equipped.
So
We don't have food, we don't have money. We've not been given any money. How do they expect us to survive and fend for ourselves in a place where we're not familiar with?
5 days, 5 days, but not for 1 month plus.
Frustrated by their situation, the students say they feel abandoned and misled as their basic needs remain unmet while their education prospects hang in the balance. We feel like we've been cheated. We traveled all the way from our homes in Northern Province, and to be here just to sit, just to suffer, it's not fair. Every time we go to that school, we never learn anything. We are lucky there's some of our friends who got an opportunity to get into some tracks, but we've only learned 5 times. But Luwingu Council has strongly refuted the claims. Council Public Relations Officer Tasila Banda maintains that allowances of 1,000 kwacha per student were disbursed on May 23rd, with all beneficiaries signing for the funds.
We also wish to announce that the Council, in the past 2 weeks, had sent payments to all the skills training schools, including Handworth institutes. The fees or the payments encompassed tuition fees and monthly allowances for the students. We, however, wish to say that the school has been providing accommodation. Therefore, we do not expect to hear that our students are stranded or have no place to stay. We also wish to say that we do not also wish to hear that our students have no food, because the school has sent authority or proof of payments to show that our students receive their monthly allowances. We have proof of the acquittal forms which our students signed. We also wish to caution our students to avoid misusing the monthly allowances on alcohol and other unnecessary expenses. The monthly allowances are strictly meant for food and nothing else.
The students remain in limbo, unsure of what the future holds as they continue to juggle survival and stored learning opportunities far from home. Elfie Mwale Shampande, Diamond News.
A manager at Mika Hotel in Lusaka has told the Lusaka High Court that murdered Independent Broadcasting Authority IBA Director General Guntila Mulea cried out for help before being forcibly taken from the hotel by his alleged abductors. Richard Kapili, 44, had testified that on July 23, 2024, while on duty, he heard commotion and rushed to the hotel car park to investigate. He says upon arrival, he saw Mr. Mulea in handcuffs calling for help as two men tried to force him into a vehicle. Mr. Mulea reportedly pleaded not to be taken, saying he did not trust the men. Mr. Kapili told the court that in the midst of the struggle, two individuals who identified themselves as police officers intervened, claiming Mr. Mulea was aware of the offense in question and needed to accompany them.
The murder trial of Independent Broadcasting Authority IBA Director General Guntila Mulea continues to unfold at the Lusaka High Court. A hotel manager has revealed that moments before his abduction, Mr. Mulea cried out for help, handcuffed and terrified, as he was dragged away by men he said he did not trust. Richard Kapila, 44, said the disturbing scene unfolded on July 23, 2024, at Mika Hotel in Lusaka when he rushed to investigate a commotion in the car park. There, he saw Mr. Mulea being forced into a car by two men. Though two individuals claimed to be police officers, the witness says Mr. Mulea continued to resist, clearly frightened. During his testimony, the state asked Mr. Kapili to identify the men who were at the hotel. Among them was Mtusani Dokowe, one of the accused. During cross-examination, defense lawyer Chawezi Ngoma asked the witness whether it was his first time seeing police officers make an arrest. The witness responded affirmatively, at least in that manner. Another defense lawyer asked if the witness had seen IBA accountant Francis Chipioka at the scene, to which he responded in the negative. Another witness, Mulenga Simukoko, a bartender at the hotel, identified Samuel Dokowe, Mtusani's brother and another accused person, as one of the men at the scene. He added that Samuel even bought a beer from the bar before Mr. Mulea was taken away from the premises. Guntila Mulea was murdered on July 24, 2024 in Lusaka's Njoro area. Four men, IBA accountant Francis Chipioka and police officer Caleb Zulu, among them, are standing trial for the brutal killing of the man many knew as a dedicated public servant. The trial continues on Thursday, June 19, 2025. So far, 9 witnesses have taken the stand in this high-profile case, each testimony drawing the court closer to understanding the final hours of the late IBA Director General. Jas Chonya, Tamo News.
The Tonse Alliance has called on all Zambians to show unity and respect as the remains of former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu are expected to arrive in the country tomorrow, 18th June 2025. Alliance chairperson Given Lubinda urged Patriotic Front members, Tonse Alliance supporters and the general public to line the streets in honor of the late head of state as his body is transported to his residence. Mr. Luwinda announced that senior Alliance officials will lead the initial viewing of the body on Thursday morning at Mulungushi Conference Center before members of the public are allowed to pay their respects.
Over 90 days away from home, the remains of Zambia's former president Edgar Chagwa Lungu are expected to arrive in the country tomorrow, the 18th of June 2025, in a private jet organized by the family. The fallen hero will receive a full military honor at the airport, after which his body will be taken to his house in Lusaka's Chifwema area, where preparations have already commenced. His body will then be taken to Mulungushi Conference Center for 3 days, where the general public will be allowed to view. Here at the Mulungushi Conference Center in Lusaka, the ball has been set rolling and the stage has been set in preparation for the hosting of the remains of Zambia's 60th Republican President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who died in South Africa while receiving medical treatment. And the Tonse Alliance acting chairperson, Given Luwinda, has called on the Zambian people, the Patriotic Front, the Tonse Alliance members to line up the streets of Lusaka and welcome the remains of the former head of state while maintaining peace.
Citizens to remain peaceful during this period. And in maintaining peace, we would like to appeal to political parties that were not supportive of Edgar Chagwa Lungu to resist the temptation of bringing their choirs wherever the body shall be. All those political parties that were not friendly to Edgar Chagwa Lungu, we appeal to you, stay where you are now. Please do not go to Mulungushi. Please do not go to the church. Please do not go to the burial. Please do not go to the residence. Stay where you are.
And Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Mote, has remembered Mr. Lungu for his hard work, which she says she worked with while he was still a lawyer.
So it's very sad for everyone. All I can urge Zambians is to mourn our late president in harmony and with dignity that he deserves. Of course, for me, he was a close friend of mine. We worked together, we did cases together, we were partners in business together.
Mr. Lungu died on 5th of June 2025 while receiving medical treatment in South Africa and will be buried on the 23rd of June 2025 at the Embassy Park, where 5 other former heads of state lay. Prudence Chota for Diamond News.
The United Nations Special Rapporteur on the Promotion and Protection of the Right to Freedom of Opinion and Expression, Irene Khan, has called on the Zambian government to implement key reforms aimed at safeguarding freedom of expression. In a report released following her visit to Zambia earlier this year, Ms. Khan urged the government to operationalize the Access to Information Act, decriminalize defamation, defamation, and revise speech-related offences under the Penal Code. She also called for the alignment of other restrictive laws with international human rights standards. The report highlights ongoing challenges to freedom of expression in Zambia, emphasizing the urgent need for legal and policy reforms, as well as strong media and state institutions.
Zambia will, therefore, be reacting to the report that has been unveiled to government by way of a statement tomorrow, Wednesday, 18th June 2025, in Geneva before the Human Rights Council, wherein as a country we are being represented by a high-powered government delegation led by the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Justice, P.S. Mwenya Walia, and team. They will be given an opportunity tomorrow to give reactions to the concerns that have been raised in the report that has been made available to government, and not reacting to statements contained in a newspaper article of today. Invitation and subsequent report, as the case will be tomorrow, is part of the constructive collaboration between the Special Rapporteur and the subject country.
You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8 with me, Tapiwa Ngoma. Let's take a look at what the weather looks like for the next couple of days. Thereafter, we take a break, and when we get back, we have business and investment news. And I will be joining you after that with more stories that are making headlines on the news desk this evening.
Business News is brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Business News Update tonight. Here are the stories making headlines today. 15% on transfers draws mixed reactions, and government has realized $11 billion from the mining sector for the past 3.5 years. Later on, we'll take a look at the money markets, but also some commodity prices. All this coming up tonight in business. Well, let's now get into the details of our business news stories tonight. Economist Luwinda Habazoga has called for urgent revisions to the government's foreign transaction policy, which mandates a tax clearance certificate (TCC) for any transaction over $2,500. Now, transactions without a TCC are automatically subjected to a 15% tax deduction, a measure originally intended to curb corporate tax evasion and capital flight. Dr. Habazoga argues that the policy is now unfairly impacting individuals, particularly in emergencies involving medical care or urgent travel. He cited a personal incident where his bank blocked a ticket purchase despite him having obtained a TCC. Now, he has further warned that such rigid enforcement could jeopardize citizens abroad and called for clearer distinctions between individual and corporate taxpayers, urging for a more flexible and reliable implementation. In contrast, economist Shabdeen Mwemba has supported the policy, noting that the 15% surcharge on transactions over $2,000 would broaden the tax base and boost national revenue by ensuring more citizens contribute to taxation.
A government policy requiring a tax clearance certificate or TCC for all foreign transactions above $2,500 is drawing mixed reactions from economists and the public. Under the current regulation, transactions exceeding the threshold without a TCC are automatically subjected to a 15% tax deduction. The measure was initially designed to curb tax evasion and reduce capital flights. But economist Dr. Luwinda Habazoga is calling for urgent revisions, warning that the policy is now unfairly affecting ordinary citizens especially during emergencies.
The Zambia Revenue Authority and government in particular needs to revisit the law that compels citizens to show proof of a tax clearance certificate if they are doing transactions over $2,000. I think that the amount is very little and it inconveniences day-to-day activities of citizens. What normally happens is that the tip-in is just enough, and what we just need to ask is for citizens every year to be able to file their returns if that is needed. Most of the Zambians just work, their employees, and they have their pay-as-you-earn paid for them on behalf of the employer. So if they have gotten a loan or they want to buy a car, they are being inconvenienced. A lot of people have come out saying that they made payments, and those payments, after that they received a 15% tax surcharge, and to get back your money, it's almost impossible. I think that this development is going to make people that are woke to open accounts outside the country, and depriving the banking system of the much needed forex to be able to do various transactions.
However, not all experts share his view. Economist Shabdin Mwemba has backed the policy, arguing that the 15% surcharge on transactions above $2,000 will help broaden Zambia's tax base and increase revenue.
The taxpayers have been complaining that the taxes that they pay are a bit high or they're too high. Reason being that there are very few people that are in the tax net. So as a result, we find that those who are compliant, they're paying exorbitantly. I'll give an example of pay-as-you-earn. You find that those who are in the tax brackets, they pay, as high as 37%. So now, ZRI has been, they've had an exercise where they want to broaden tax base, and they've come up with different regulations, some of which for you to receive a certain payment, if, for example, you have done some works, you need to be compliant in terms of tax, which is a welcome move because they want to capture as many as possible in the tax net. So that by doing that, you find that the tax net is going to be broadened. And when there are a lot of people that are involved in paying tax, that is a lot of people brought in the tax net, even there's a possibility that actually even the tax percentages may go down because you're going to have a lot of people participating in paying tax, as opposed to what is currently happening, especially those in the informal sector, be it companies, individuals who find that they are not participating in paying in one form of tax or the other. So it's a welcome move to put those policies in place to ensure that everyone at least participates. Those people now are going to have the culture of being compliant.
As the debate continues, many are watching closely to see whether government will revisit the policy or double down on enforcement. Rachel Mumba for Diamond News.
Now, in more business news stories tonight, government has announced that it has realized $11 billion from the mining sector over the past 3.5 years, marking a significant milestone in the country's economic performance. Now, speaking in Lusaka on Tuesday, Mines and Minerals Development Minister Paul Kabutwe has attributed the achievement to ongoing reforms and renewed investment confidence, and this is in the sector, in line with government's vision to revitalize mining as a key pillar of Zambia's economy. Now, the minister has also disclosed that the artisanal and small-scale miners have contributed over 45,000 metric tons of copper to national output following the issuance of more than 700 licenses to small-scale operators. Well, now, after those stories, we'll now take a look at the money markets. Well, for the money markets tonight, this is how the kwacha has performed on the international market in comparison with the United States dollars. Of close of business day today, the United States dollar was buying at 24.27 kwacha and it was selling at 24 kwacha 66 ngwe. Those are your average commercial rates of the day between the United States dollar as well as the Zambian kwacha. Well, coming up next, we take a look at the construction update. if you would like to purchase some construction commodities, here is one or two items rather that we have for you today. And we start off with a P-trap with adapter flexible sink drain pipe, which is going at 557 kwacha, 19 ngwe. That's how much it will cost you based on the average commercial rates to the United States dollar. But we also have another commodity in construction that you might want to purchase, and this is a hand-drill multifunctional drilling machine, electric driver, small pistol drill, which is going at 2,840 kwacha, 8 ngwe. It has a rated voltage of 220, and so that's how much it might cost you based on the average commercial rates of the United States dollar and the Zambian kwacha. Well, now after that, we'll take a look at the commodity prices. Well, let's now start off with the food items, and this is how much some commodities might cost you. We start off with beef. 1 kg is going at 100 kwacha. 2 kg of sugar is going at 70 kwacha. 1 kg of sugar is at 33. For flour, 2.5 kg is going to cost you 95 kwacha to purchase that. For Nakonda rice, 5 kg is in between 160 and 180 kwacha. For eggs, a tray is going between 100 and 110 kwacha. For quinoa, it's 2.5 liters, which is going at 170 kwacha and 180 kwacha, in between that range. For Millie Meal breakfast, 10 kg, 190, but for roller, 10 kg is going at 153. Let's quickly take a look at the non-food items. Toilet paper, 10 rolls is at 85 kwacha. 175 grams of toothpaste between 26 and 35 kwacha. For washing powder, 500 grams is between 40 and 45 kwacha. And for bathing soap, 1 bar is in between 19 and 29 kwacha. For those are the commodity prices. For those commodity prices, the money markets, construction updates, and the business news stories for you today that we had are what conclude the business news update. After this, we'll take a look at the investment news.
Business News was brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
G.zm/ISIC.
Well, now the news in detail. ZDA Director General Albert Halwampa attributed this surge in investment to a significantly improved investment climate marked by strong leadership, policy stability, and Zambia's advantageous geographic location. Speaking during the sponsorship check handover ceremony in Lusaka, where Zanaco has donated 500,000 kwacha as a platinum sponsor of the upcoming Invest in Zambia International Conference, Mr. Halwampa says Zambia's investment environment is currently at its highest in recent history. Meanwhile, Zanaco Chief Executive Officer Mukwandi Chiwesakunda has reaffirmed the bank's commitment to supporting Zambia's long-term development, and she said that the conference's theme, driving generational transformative investment through joint ventures and partnerships, aligns closely with Zanaco's core vision.
The Zambia Development Agency says the country has recorded a significant surge in investment inflows, registering over 100 billion United States dollars in the last 3 years alone. ZDA Director General Albert Halwampa says this figure is double the total investment commitments recorded in the 14 years prior to 2021, crediting the sharp increase to a combination of strong leadership, stable and predictable policies, and Zambia's strategic location in the region.
From 2021 to 2024-25, somewhere there, to generate close to $100 billion of investment licenses issued. 14 years, about 50 billion. 3 years, $100 billion. What does that tell you? It tells you that the investment environment is at its highest. Because we know, and we are proud to say, we have good leadership in Zambia. Because the investors tell us leadership is everything. Secondly, stable, predictable policies, very important for investors. Thirdly, where Zambia is located. Invest in Zambia, produce, distribute to the local market, the excess you export to 9 countries. Immediate market, within 24 hours, you are delivering to your customers.
And speaking at the same event, Zanaco Chief Executive Officer Mukwandi Chiwesakunda says the theme of the conference, driving generational transformative investments through joint ventures and partnerships, aligns with the bank's long-term vision.
Through strategic collaborations and innovative joint ventures, Zambia can unlock its full potential, creating sustainable prosperity for generations to come. This theme emphasizes the importance of working together, government, private sector, development partners, and communities, to catalyze transformative investments that will shape Zambia's future.
The Invest in Zambia International Conference is expected to attract both local and international investors, focusing on collaborative opportunities in key sectors of the economy. Rachel Mumba for Diamond News.
Well, that story is what concludes the investment news update for tonight. After this, we'll continue with the Diamond News Desk at 8.
Investment news was brought to you by Zambia Development Agency.
At 8, special thanks to my colleague Cosmas Chongomalenga for running us through business news as well as investment news. We'll continue with more stories that are making headlines this evening on the Diamond News Desk at 8. What we're looking at now is users in Livingston's Livuyu Nansanzu footbridge calling for its rehabilitation. The concerned say the facility is compromising their safety after some materials have worn out. Meanwhile, Livuyu Ward Councillor Isaac Lichaha has told Diamond News that the bridge is earmarked for rehabilitation starting next week with support from constituency member of Parliament Rodney Sikumba.
For years, locals have struggled to access the footbridge that connects Nansanzu and Livuyu wards, as the lack of repair work has left the structure vulnerable to damage.
Wakupa kubo echi baverengana paka bridgika lwashwa tate akayosefuka baka utofera kuli baferire kushwa batumu ahulu.
This facility was originally constructed to facilitate the movement of community members and school-going children on either side of Livingstone. However, its current state compromises their safety.
And we have what we are calling CDF now. Look at this. People are doing money for work for man. I don't know how they call it. Look at this. So we're in trouble. The work culture is very bad. Even if somebody loves the mistake, you vote for a person today, where the moment he gets into the office tomorrow is in Lusaka.
Livingston constituency member of Parliament Rodney Sikumba has intervened to rehabilitate the facility. Livuyu Ward Councillor Isaac Lichaha has told Diamond News.
It's almost set. I think maybe I'm told the last consignment should be arriving on Friday for the materials that are supposed to be used by the same site. So I'm just hoping also that, keeping my fingers crossed, that hoping by next week we might have the contractor on site with KTC of the MP's office. Is the one that sourced for the same funds that are supposed to rehabilitate the long-awaited bridge, of which the community and our residents have been risking their lives.
For now, the footbridge remains in use for the community. Gabriel Josiah Smova, Diamond News, Southern Zambia.
And in some heartwarming news this winter, residents of Lusaka's Matero Aftercare Center have expressed gratitude after receiving blankets donated by the Trade Kings group of companies. Speaking during the handover, resident Winford Kalumbi said the gesture brought warmth and comfort to the residents, especially during the cold season. He thanked the company for remembering and supporting their community. And Trade Kings Foundation representative Bridget Kabombe reaffirmed the organization's commitment to addressing community challenges and uplifting vulnerable groups.
Europe, in many parts of the country, staying warm has become a daily chore, especially for the most vulnerable. But for residents at the Matero Aftercare Center, that struggle just got a little easier. Thanks to a warm-hearted gesture from Trade Kings group of companies, the 46 residents, 31 male and 15 females, received blankets to shield them from the biting cold, among other items. Winford Kalumbi, one of the residents, couldn't hide his appreciation, saying the donation has not just brought warmth, but also shows that they are valued despite their own struggles. And Trade Kings Foundation Group Public Relations Manager Bridget Kambobe said the company is not just giving out blankets, they are delivering dignity to the less privileged. She says this year's winter drive aims to alleviate hardships, particularly for families struggling to stay warm during the cold season across Lusaka, Western Province and Copperbelt provinces.
Recognize that vulnerable people in communities experience a lot of challenges, including availability of warm beddings. And so the donation for 2025, which envisions to distribute over 3,600 blankets in, of course, urban communities and rural communities in Lusaka, Copperbelt and Western Province, envisions to alleviate the challenges that we currently are experiencing, and which communities continue to experience.
Meanwhile, Matero Aftercare Center representative pledged to utilize the donated items wisely.
Residents need the warmth of the winter blankets. So we really appreciate that you've come to us and given us the donation of blankets that will help the people that we keep. And you know, our residents are a group that are not only vulnerable, but they are experiencing different challenges.
More than 160,000 residents in Chipata City are expected to benefit from improved water access, paving the way for better health and hygiene after a major 10 million euros project that promises to transform the water distribution network infrastructure in the next 3 years. For years, access to clean and reliable water has been a daily struggle for many families in Chipata. Residents like Lawrence Muzi believe that inconsistent water will be a thing of the past after the project is complete.
Inconsistent water supply in Chipata City, especially up the hills, may shortly be a thing of the past. Access to clean water is about to get easier for thousands of residents. Eastern Water and Sanitation Company has signed a 10 million euro deal with Malawi and Sawa Group with support from KFW to rehabilitate the city's water distribution network. Over the next 3 years, more than 60 kilometers of pipelines will be upgraded, ensuring reliable supply for over 160,000 residents.
This project is expected to benefit 160,000 people, residents of Chipata, through improved hours of supply. Considering that we are not going to be wasting water, considering that the system will now be tight. So expect that all the people that are connected to the Eastern Water Supply System, they will have improved hours of supply as a result of this. We are also going to see improved water quality
from where it is. The contractor has an assurance to make
the equipment, the right materials, so that you have a long-lasting project or product which will serve the people of Chipata and your organization for a long time to come. So we're very excited, and we have an experienced team. We also learned a lot of things. I'm sure we're going to need a lot of help from Eastern Water to get familiar with the communities, the safeguards, getting to interact with the communities.
So for me is to thank Eastern Water and Sanitation Company, to thank the contractor that finally we've come to a point where we are signing now this important contract. And also to thank KFW, who have been very, very helpful in this process and who are willing to fund this project.
For residents like Lawrence Muzi, he can't wait for the benefits after enduring so many challenges.
Having the history of Chipata, it's been a long time that they have been in the making sure that there is water in Chipata, hence the challenges that historically they've been recording. So where we have various interventions coming up and looking at how they can rehabilitate this system and have an improvement, it's quite of great importance as the consumers ourselves, but at the same time we are the stakeholders who need to ensure that we also play our part.
For now, residents wait for the benefits at their doorstep as they continue to suffer erratic water supply and the utility company non-revenue water due to dilapidated water infrastructure. Samuel Sylvester Kwawe, Diamond News, Eastern Zambia.
Residents of Mazabuga have expressed outrage following the abuse of a 16-year-old orphan from Simwamba village in Magoye, who is now seeking refuge at the home of Headman Mafuele in Kalea compound. The girl, under Chief Mwana Chingwala's jurisdiction, reportedly suffered physical and emotional abuse at the hands of her 49-year-old aunt, her late mother's sister, who forced her to sleep outside for 5 consecutive nights. The aunt accused the teenager of negligence after Keto ate the maize she was supposed to be guarding. During an interview at the headman's residence, the aunt arrived to reclaim the girl and pleaded for forgiveness in the presence of the Zambia police officer and headman Mafuele.
Zabuka have strongly condemned the abuse of a 16-year-old girl from Magoy, who's currently seeking refuge at the village headman's residence in Kalea compound. The girl, an orphan from Simwaba village in Mwana Chingwala chiefdom, has reportedly been subjected to physical abuse by a 49-year-old auntie, her late mother's elder sister, who she stays with. It is alleged that the auntie recently forced the girl to sleep outside in the cold for days. The mistreatment prompted the girl to search for a biological father, ultimately leading her to seek help from the headman after making inquiries with neighbors. The village headman, now providing shelter to the girl, expressed deep concern over the increasing cases of child abuse in rural areas.
This
child was brought to me by my subjects. She explained that she had run away because she wanted to find her father, who is a driver. The girl claims that she has been physically abused and forced to sleep outside for days in the cold. I appeal for an end to child abuse. In an interview at the headman's place, the auntie who had come to take the girl back pleaded for forgiveness as she broke down in tears. I admit I've made mistakes and I ask for forgiveness. Neighbors and other concerned residents have voiced serious concerns over the long-standing abuse the girl has endured since the death of her mother when she was only 4 years old.
The kids are our future leaders. If we are not, treating them well,
then we would have already compounded the whole generation of tomorrow. I think the law should take its course, visit them, and try to, punish those who are going to be found wanting.
Police have since removed the girl from her abusive guardian and placed her under the temporary care of the village headman, waiting for formal arrangements with Department of Social Welfare. Helga Chibwe, Diamond News, Mazabuka District in Southern Province.
Access to justice remains a major challenge for many rural communities across Zambia. In Chipata, stakeholders made strong recommendations for the revised National Legal Aid Policy with a key focus on formally recognizing community paralegals who provide crucial legal assistance at grassroots level. Our reporter Samuel Kwawe was at the Eastern Province consultation meeting on the formulation of legal aid policy and brought us this report.
In many remote parts of Zambia, justice remains out of reach. Long distances, legal support, high cost, and lack of lawyers have created what stakeholders call an injustice gap, leaving vulnerable populations without legal protection. It is for this reason why the Minister of Justice has formed a technical working group that will inform a better policy, and consultations are underway with the people. At Eastern Province consultation meeting, stakeholders proposed critical changes to the legal aid policy, including formal recognition of paralegals.
My issue is Yalamulo, and I'm sure the coming in of paralegals is even demand creation for issues of law closer to the community as possible.
A cry for more lawyers. Here is a cry for more paralegals. But unfortunately, in as far as some experience we have got, it is that there is a stingy way of qualifying the lawyers.
Despite all these challenges, there are people like Iris Zozi who have successfully accessed legal aid services without paying anything.
Also because of my late son. Otherwise, it is almost 1 year. From August up to January. Then January, at court. Court now, from January up to May is when I was given the date.
Chiefs want expanded services for the paralegals, especially in rural areas.
So people funikazi kuma police kuja studies zirako watu mwe notenda kuma police board ze chifukwa chakuti chomwe chichitika watu lina makhala kwambiri ma sales kuja mwera for 2 weeks pado chomwe chichitika just to have a bond bakhala vuto kwambiri some they are even paying for a bond.
For the Minister of Justice, recommendations made by stakeholders in Eastern Province are striking.
But if there are those areas which you think you are doing fine, then we need to get that feedback either monthly or quarterly. Peradventure, in the manner in which we are going to be handling not only matters of legal aid, but also other governance issues.
Is enhancing public awareness of legal aid services, particularly among vulnerable populations. Number 6 is incorporating a robust monitoring and evaluation framework to measure progress, quality, and impact. And number 7 is strengthening coordination among legal aid service providers and law enforcement agencies, ensuring seamless and efficient justice delivery.
As Zambia works to reform its legal aid system, recommendations could bring justice closer to those who need it most. Samuel Sylvester Kwawe, Diamond News, Eastern Zambia.
Thank you, Samuel, for that report, which brings us to the end of the Diamond News Desk at 8. Have you missed any of our stories? I can never come back, oh. It's already too late, oh. Well, this is where we end it here, because if you will want more of these stories, you might want to catch me on the Diamond News Desk at 6 a.m. where I give you more of the stories that are making headlines as we get started on the day. Tomorrow is a big day as we expect the former head of state's body to arrive within the country. So be rest assured that Diamond TV has got more of these updates on the hour that we'll be giving you. You can also stay tuned to our social media channels. That's Diamond TV Zambia as well as Diamond TV Online. And we'll be giving you those updates. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Tapongoma, and have a pleasant evening.